So I do want to speak about Lamine Yamal's performance against Inter Milan. I believe that, this was a game where we could have won. It could have been 3-0. It could have been 3-1. Barcelona should have came out with a win at our home stadium, but it has not been one of the best. I think that we felt a little empty coming away from the match because it's basically like we have never played this game in the first place. It's 0-0, and we have to go to the next game knowing that whoever wins basically goes to the next round. But here's the thing. After everything that we have witnessed in this game, from Rafinha to Eric Garcia to Kubarsi to Gerard Martin and whatever, one of the players that was like the bright light in this game was Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal is a player that I just want to continue to talk about because he just showcases every game why he is going to be the best player in the world. Now, I do want to talk about a few things. Because before this game, before Yamal played against Inter Milan, right, it was said, and they told him, do you compare yourself to Lionel Messi? Like, do you see yourself in that way? And he said, I don't compare myself to anyone, much less Messi. I admire him. And so he is emphasizing that he wants to create his own legacy. He is not worried about trying to emulate Lionel Messi's career or his playing style, etc. I think that if Lamine Yamal were to be interested in emulating anybody, it would be Neymar, but not Messi. So he's not out here trying to be the next Messi. He wants to be the Lamine Yamal and the first Lamine Yamal. And then they asked him, what do you think about the critics and all, and the arrogance, and how everybody has been saying that you are arrogant, that you are cocky? And he said, while I'm winning, they can't say anything. When they beat me, they can. And so once again, this is addressing the accusations of him being arrogant, cocky, that he's doing too much, that he thinks that he's all that. Lamine Yamal is saying, I have the right to speak like this because I win. And if I do lose and I act like this, then you can talk about me, whatever, right? So Lamine Yamal is having that type of mentality where it brings them up there with one of the best players in the world, right? He's not like, it would be different if Yamal was not really doing anything this season and he had more haircut styles than goals. No, like he's like Paul Pogba, for example, more hairstyles than goals. But Yamal is somebody who backs up it with the way that he does talk, with the way that he does like to show himself up, like to the media and stuff like that. He does back himself up on the pitch by scoring goals, providing assists. As a matter of fact, like I said, going back to this match against Inter, the best player for FC Barcelona on this night was Lamine Yamal. He scored a goal. He almost he scored another one where I think he took down Di Marco, right? He took him down. Then he went on to try and shoot the ball. It hit the post, unfortunately. Then he had another moment where he chipped the ball over the goalkeeper and it hit the post again. So he could have came out with 3 total goals. And then combine that with the amount of key passes that he had. Let's look at his total stats here, right? 102 touches. No other attacker in Barcelona had more than Yamal. 102 touches. That is a lot. And then he had 6 out of 10 successful dribbles, 17 progressive carries, 12 progressive passes, 2 key passes, 6 shots, 1 goal, duels 1 was 8, shots off the post was 2. And once again, Lamine Yamal scored 1 goal. So he was the protagonist. He was the man. So, look at this, right? We have the Inter Miami coach, Inzaghi, who has explained that players like Barcelona's Yamal are born every 50 years. Everybody thought, for example, that after Maradona retired, that there was never going to be another Maradona. But then Messi came. And then after Messi left Europe, everybody was saying there will never be another Messi, and it's just impossible. But now Lamine Yamal is on the rise. I know it's a little weird for me to say that, Lamine Yamal should be compared to Maradona or Messi, but if you're doing things like this, right, providing all of these assists, scoring against Inter at 17 years old, you have to, at the very least, maybe have that little idea that maybe there is that chance that there could be something here with Yamal. At 17, I can't remember the last time I've heard about somebody who was 17 and had this much of an impact in the first team. I think the last time, like truly the last time I can think about a player who was 17 and dominating football was Ronaldo Nazario and Diego Maradona. Those 2 players only. Messi couldn't even do that. Ronaldo couldn't even do that. With the level that Ronaldo was at, and the same thing with Messi. At 17 years old, they were nowhere near close to Yamal today. Nowhere near. And so I'm glad to see that, Yamal is kind of being, I would just say, stoic, really calm. Like if you look at his interviews and stuff like that, he had an interview with, I believe it was, I forgot who it was, but it was with Terry Henry and like, what I'm talking about, like the one with Terry Henry in it. I think it's CBS Sports or something like that. It's like the main UEFA channel or whatever. And they were asking him all these questions, and like the commentators that were laughing. But if you look at Lamine Yamal's attitude and how he does approach these post-match press conferences, he's very like just calm, very just not energetic, not like overhyped or like just too like emotional about certain things. He's just calm, straight face. There's little to no emotions to that, and I would much rather have that than a player who's so emotional about every single thing, and you can't even think straight, and you can't even perform for yourself. Yamal truly is a different character. I have never seen somebody at the age of 17 years old, just be so calm in press conferences, in performances, and pre-match press conferences. It's insane, right? And then we look back at, let's go back to the pre-match preview. Then they asked him, what about the fear and confidence? Like, what do you say about these two things? And then they asked him, no, he said, I left fear behind in Mataro a long time ago, saying that, Yamal, detached himself from fear back when he was like, I guess 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. He's no longer like that. He also explained that he grew up playing with older kids, and that helped him develop resilience. So that could be the reason why he is so mature for his age. And he also said that, he does get butterflies before games, but he doesn't feel the pressure whatsoever. And he believes that he thrives under pressure, as he should. So it really is insane on, what he has been able to do. He also said, right, like he's not out here trying to say that these clubs are weak or whatever. He called Inter Milan before the game strong defensively, very quick on the counter. And he said that, Barcelona should always just focus on doing what they do best to advance. So very mature comments. You look at his press conference with Terry Henry, once again, really good. And in the middle of all of that, which is the most important thing, he continues to score goals and shows himself in important moments through the Champions League. And I find that amazing. Right, it is amazing. So with all this being said, the biggest news I can give to you guys is the fact that Lamine Yamal will be renewing with FC Barcelona, which is great. We want to lock down this player. It says here that Lamine Yamal is going to be securing a 5-year contract renewal that will take him until 2030. Next to Pedri, next to Gavi, next to Marc Bernal, next to all of the players and youngsters that we're trying to lock down today. And that's important. Lamine Yamal could not sign a long-term deal with Barcelona until he hit like 18 years old, and he's going to be turning 18 years old very, very soon. And it says here that this extension is also going to follow a 1 billion euro buyout clause, right? That is definitely reflecting Barcelona's strategy to maintain their top stars, right? Their top attackers. And the more and more I see Hansi Flick's Barcelona, the more I'm starting to understand that the project that Hansi is going to build is going to revolve around Yamal and Pedri mainly. It is those two players. Of course, we have other important players like Bernal, like Casado, Gavi, Alejandro Balde, Kubarsi, of course, exceptional, amazing. They're going to be world-class in their own positions. But if you want to build a great sporting project, a project that you can trust, you have to maintain Pedri and Lamine Yamal, because that is like God-level status in terms of like football, okay? And technically, like technical wise, they are the best. They are levels above any other player right now in Barcelona, and I would even say in the world of football. So Pedri is going to be running our midfield for years, and obviously I hope that he continues past 2030. Same thing with Lamine Yamal. He's going to be running our attack for years, hopefully past 2030. So the number one thing, okay, is we have to protect the player. I think that we were not so good at protecting Ansu Fati back in 2019, 20, and 2021 because we continued to force him to play and he just got re-injured and it was bad. And now we see Ansu Fati at the brink of leaving FC Barcelona, not even 55% of what he was back in 2019, 20, and 2021. He is just not it anymore. And Ansu Fati, like when you go back to 2019 and 2020, the projection was okay, by the time he's 22, he's gonna be like Eto. He should have been like Eto right now. So can you imagine Ansu Fati at like Eto status, Samuel Eto, with Lamine Yamal today? Barcelona would have been in the most blessed position ever. But that is football, and things like that do happen. And it does break my heart to know that somebody like Ansu Fati is not making it or cutting it, and Hansi Flick is gonna give him the big word and say, "You're gonna have to leave. You know, you're a great player, but I have to continue to improve my squad, and I cannot do that with you being here." So it's unfortunate, and you know that is very frustrating, and I don't want that to happen again. We need to protect Lamine Yamal from the physical standpoint and a mental standpoint. That is important. If you have those two things in order, you will be okay. And of course, you cannot have him get too high off of his own supply. Like the last thing I want to see is, you know, him at 22 years old and he's like, I need 50 million euros a season, or I'm leaving and my agent is going to find me a new club. And, you know, I'm just too good. Look at me and I want the most money because I'm pretty and my name sells and I'm going to be the next Neymar or whatever. That is going to be very dangerous. Okay. And we have to make sure that, you know, we talk to the player. We tell him, you know, like, look what happened with Neymar. I mean, like, Neymar went to PSG. Of course, he scored a lot of goals, provided a lot of assists, but he was supposed to be the face of Barcelona for sure. He would have seen a lot more success at Barcelona than he did over there at PSG. That is just a fact. It's just how it is. So we want to make sure that Yamal hits his ceiling. He hits his the best that he can ever get, because that's what happened with Messi. Barcelona knew they had a duty to get the best out of Messi, and they hired the right coach, which was Pep Guardiola, and he amplified the hell out of Messi. He pushed Messi to like past Maradona levels at the age of 22, 23, 24 years old. It came to a point where I remember there was a report when around 2000 and I would just say 14. I think he was like 25 years old. There was a lot of reports coming out saying that Messi was so tired, his legs felt heavier than ever before, and he felt fatigued because of just how much Guardiola got out of Messi during his time at Barcelona, right? Guardiola got a lot out of Messi, and that is what made Messi so exceptional. So I think that the same thing has to happen with Hansi Flick. Hansi has to get the most out of Yamal for the next 4 to 5 years, the most, because he is going to reach levels that we can't even think of right now. And then from there, obviously, he might take a dip in form, right? For like a season, just like Messi did, just like Ronaldo did. It's normal. They might take a dip in form, but rise back up even higher, like Messi did. Messi was, I would say, like an A- in terms of like football from 2008 through 2012. He took a dip between 2013 and 14 because of injuries. He felt fatigue and the sporting structure wasn't that best, but then he rised up like a phoenix during 2015, 16, 17, 18, and 19, right? It was a whole other different version of Messi. So I expect the same thing with Yamal. There will be an amazing version for going back to what I was saying, like Messi was an A- between 2008 and 2012, and then I would just say God level status A+++ between 2015 to 2019. Yamal, he's gonna be an A- from today, right now, up until I would just say 2000, like at 22 years old. After that, we'll see, because I don't even know if Hansi Flick's gonna be here in about 5 years, and you know, plus that, right? And we'll see what happens from there. But for sure, for right now, the one thing that we can control is to get the most out of these next 5 years from Yamal, and then we'll see how he does progress after the age of 22 years old and what type of player he does become. Because every player goes through these phases. They go through different phases in their careers where they play different positions. They become different players. The attitude changes, the workload changes, the training changes, the diet, everything, etc., etc. It gets very nitty gritty. We get into the nitty gritty of all these things, right? It's crazy, but I'm proud with what we have seen with Yamal so far. He's generational talent. Even bro, like we had like some comments from Bastoni, the Inter Milan defender. He said that he's an incredible player, very difficult to defend, and that's it. Everybody knows that. Like the last time I heard, like think about this, the last time I actually heard about uh like oppositions talking about our players after a game, the last time we saw that was with Messi. Now we're seeing the exact same thing with Lamine Yamal. It's insane. So that is it, right? That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.